and it's Eric van der Poel on pole position, suitably enough. Former Grand Prix driver, did 5 Grand Prix in his fairly short Grand Prix career with some lowly teams. Well, the problem here is to try and take a good car and one that works well in qualifying and try and make it consistent over the course of a whole race. We've got a good setup, but previous races have showed us that other cars are sometimes better over a race distance. So I'm going to have to try and make a good start, build the lead, and then try and hang on to that lead. After practice, however, things not so good. In fact, Van der Poel and the 3 Alfa Romeos are all pushed further down the grid due to having illegal wings. So it means that the Opel team annex the front row of the grid with Alex Caffi and Jordi Janné. About 40,000 people ready for the Spanish touring car race here in Catalonia. With those 2 Opels on the front row of the grid, it's looking good for the white and yellow cars. Let's get ready for the first race. Remember, 2 races, and away they go as the lights change to green. And which of the 2 Opels gets away first? Well, it looks as though it's the car of Alex Caffi who's managed to make the better start. Alex Caffi diving into that first corner ahead of his teammate Jordi Janné, with Eric van der Poel there in 3rd position. So he wasn't pushed right to the back of the grid, Van der Poel, as you can see, still reasonably well up. But they were penalised for having those illegal wings. Oh, that's Jesus Pereira, former sports car racer, in trouble in his Ford Mondeo already. And meanwhile, the Alfa Romeos are already battling Luis Villamil there, moving past Giorgio Francia. And Francia racing in this year's Spanish series out of the German Touring Car Championship, which he raced for Alfa Romeo for several seasons, but now racing in Spain. But up front, it's the Opels, and it's still Alex Caffi, former Grand Prix driver himself. We've got another accident there. That's Carlos Palau involved in that. The other Mondeo is out, so Ford in big trouble already. But up front, it's the Opels, but are coming under pressure from Eric van der Poel in the Nissan. Van der Poel looking for that 2nd place from Jordi Janné. Janné, who raced in the British Formula 3 Championship a few years ago, moved on to Formula 3000, never quite cracked it into Grand Prix racing, but now a front runner in the Spanish touring cars, and trying to fend off the Belgian Eric van der Poel at the moment. Up front, though, still Alex Caffi leading this race. The Opel team looking very strong here in Catalonia, but Eric van der Poel dives down the inside, takes that 2nd place away from Jordi Janné, and so we now have the Opels split by the Nissan. Van der Poel now catching up to Alex Caffi, but has he got enough time? We're getting towards the end of this race. Caffi under pressure from Van der Poel. There is Jordi Janné still in 3rd position. And Antonio Albacete, the man who's actually 2nd in the championship at the moment in the BMW, well, he's a little further down the order. Disappointing run at the moment for BMW. The winner of the first 2 rounds of the championship, Albacete at Jerez. But here in Catalonia, the BMW not going quite so well. On board with race leader Alex Caffi in the Opel. Everything going swimmingly well for him at the moment. Still being chased by Eric van der Poel and his teammate Jordi Janné. Then it's Adrian Campos, and that's one of the Alfas off. And it looks as though it's Luis Villamil, well, rejoining, but obviously you can see that left front tyre completely destroyed, and Villamil heading back towards the pits. Well, there he is, in fact, having attention. Looks as though they're going to send him back out again. Former Spanish champion himself, Luis Villamil, but not having so much luck here at Catalonia. So it looks as though Alex Caffi is going to take the first win for Opel in 1995. Caffi wins it from Van der Poel and Janné. Well, I had a good race, even if it wasn't a terribly good start. The car was consistent all race long, which is the most important thing, really, to get a race victory here. Consistency is much more important than speed, and we worked hard in practice. It paid off.
Essere costante durante tutta la carriera. Io credo che abbiamo fatto un buon lavoro qui durante l'entrenamento e estamos bene.
So Caffi the winner, Van der Poel 2nd, Jordi Janné 3rd, Adrian Campos 4th, and Antonio Albacete in the BMW. Well, he managed to get 5th place in the end and still add points in the championship. Let's get going with the 2nd race then, and away this time. A good start from Eric van der Poel, a much better start from the Nissan driver this time, and Van der Poel, I think he's going to have the lead as we head into the first corner with, it looks like, Alex Caffi in 2nd place. No, in fact, it's his teammate Jordi Janné who's come up in 2nd. There's a spinner already, one of the Alfa Romeos, and that is Giorgio Francia. And this another battle, in fact. We're on board Adrian Campos, and he's battling with Luis Villamil. Oh, there's contact. Villamil spins. Campos runs wide. Well, Campos has gone off onto the grass, but can he get back on without actually hitting the barrier? He's trying to bring it around gently, does it? Yes, it looks as though he's going to be able to get back onto the circuit. Last year's champion, former Minardi Grand Prix driver Adrian Campos, rejoins the circuit, but he's a long way down, and in fact that has allowed fourth place to go to Jesus Diez Villarruel. There he is in the BMW, and he's actually one of the privateers in the race, and he's in fourth position. Well, soon coming under attack from one of the other BMWs. In fact, that is Antonio Albacete going through. So Albacete finished fifth in the first race. What can he do in this second race? Winner of the first two rounds, but in fact running with quite a lot of ballast. They add ballast to the cars in the Spanish Touring Car Championship, so that's part of the reason for him not perhaps going quite so well here in Catalonia. Further down, the battle between Jon Viñes and the two Alfa Romeos, Adrian Campos and Luis Villamil, right behind. Oh, there's been contact there between Campos and Viñes by the looks of things. Campos still there. Villamil's smoking away on that right front tyre, and looks as though he's got some troubles there, that's for sure. There is Villamil. We can see the smoke pouring off the Alfa 155, but nonetheless he dives up the inside of Campos, takes that position away from Adrian Campos. The two who contacted each other earlier on, they're still at it. In fact, it looks like Campos is going to try and knock him off again if Villamil doesn't watch out. Back to the leader though, Eric van der Poel, our race leader, and it looks as though the 34-year-old Belgian, who finished second in the Formula 3000 title in 1990, it looks like he's going to take the win here in Catalonia. First win for Nissan of the year as well, ahead this time of the two Opels of Genet and Caffi. So in the championship, Antonio Albacete actually has the lead in the series now, with him finishing in fourth place. He's got 70 points, Eric van der Poel second on 65 points, and Luis Villamil third on 61 points. More touring car action. We go from the French series to the Spanish series. Super Touring really expanding all around Europe, and well, this time the Spanish Touring Car Championship making its only visit outside its own shores and going to Estoril in Portugal. The fourth round of the series in the Spanish touring cars, and it's a good qualifying time from Eric van der Poel in the Nissan. Well, he had a win and a second place last time out, but even with this spectacular two-wheeling action, his qualifying wasn't quite good enough to take pole. In fact, it was Giorgio Francia taking the first 1995 pole position for an Alfa Romeo 155 in the series. I think that Alfa, Nissan and Opel are all really very close. Sometimes it's us fastest, sometimes it's the others. Today it was my turn. I'm very happy, and we're going to see how the race goes tomorrow. Only one BMW in Estoril for the privateer driver, Jesus Diez Villarruel. And that's because the official BMW driver, Antonio Albacete, who currently leads the championship by 5 points, actually excluded for 2 races following incidents in Jarama. So Albacete not competing in this race. Let's see what happens as we get the first race underway. From the start of the race then, we go on board with Adrian Campos, who makes a great start. It was an absolutely appalling start from the front row of Giorgio Francia from that pole position. So he got dropped behind, and up front it's Alex Caffi who takes the initial lead as they all head off around the first lap here at Estoril. Alex Caffi leading from Adrian Campos in second position, Luis Perez Sala in third, with Jon Viñes up into fourth place. Perez Sala looking down the inside of Campos into the right-hand hairpin, climbing back uphill towards the left-hander before they run behind the pit paddock area. But a good start there from Alex Caffi in the Opel. The 31-year-old Spaniard raced in the Italian Formula 3 series back in the mid-80s before going on to some Grand Prix racing with Osella and Dallara. And Alex Caffi now pulling out a bit of a lead, bit of an advantage from Adrian Campos. Well, further back, there's been an incident coming out of the last corner. That's one of the Fords involved, Carlos Palau, and in fact Jesus Pereira also involved. So both of the Fords in trouble there. Well, we're taking a look at the onboard pictures here from Jon Viñez, and up front you can see that in fact is a spinning Nissan. That's Luis Perez Sala, and remember he was well up in third position, so that's changed things around a little bit, and it's still Alex Caffey leading, Adrian Campos in second position now, with Marc Genet up into third position. From the onboard camera, that's Giorgio Francia going past Jon Viñez, and well, up front Alex Caffey having a fairly untroubled time. They're going through the new chicane there. Remember that chicane introduced last year for the Portuguese Grand Prix. As we go back on board once again, Adrian Campos still going well, but coming into the pits in fact has come Alex Caffey, and Adrian Campos as well has also got himself a penalty for a jump start. So into the pits there is Alex Caffey, having served his penalty. So Caffey coming back out once again, and obviously his start was deemed to be a little bit too rapid. Adrian Campos also has to come in. There he does come in indeed. So that leaves the lead of the race now to Jordi Genet. In the Opel, he's got Giorgio Francia right behind him. Luis Villamil in third place in another Alfa Romeo, and then Jon Viñez not far behind in another of the Nissans. So the Opel lead that was held by Alex Caffey is now being taken away by Giorgio Francia, going past Jordi Genet. Genet, who'd taken over from his teammate in the Opel camp, but now Giorgio Francia making up for that appalling start from pole position, goes into the lead. And in fact, Jordi Genet is coming under pressure from Luis Villamil now. So he's got to watch out from the second of the Alfa Romeos. In fact, Villamil goes past. So Alfas 1 and 2, Giorgio Francia, driver who was racing in the German Touring Car Championship, and now in the Spanish series. There's Eric van der Poel trying to make up some ground as well. Van der Poel trying to get past Jordi Genet and get into third place through that final corner. He's got just a little way to go towards the checkered flag. It looks as though Francia is going to take the win here. Francia coming through to win it from Villamil in second. Who's going to take third? Well, Genet just takes third from Eric van der Poel. Jon Viñez fifth, and Jesus Diaz in sixth place in the BMW. Well, Alex Caffey in a bit of trouble before the start of the race with electrical problems before this second start. So, well, that's disappointing for the man who was leading the first race. And once again, Francia makes an appalling start. And so it's Luis Villamil who makes the best start in his Alfa Romeo. Villamil leading, Van der Poel making an excellent start, the Belgian. In the Nissan, Van der Poel trying to go around the outside. Remember, he took a win in the previous round of the series. And we go on board with Villarreal in the BMW through the right hand. Oh, he's understeering, he's off straight into the barrier. Hefty impact for Villarreal. And let's take another look at that. Serious case of understeer. Turning the wheel, nothing much happening. The car went straight on and boffed straight into the barrier. The onboard camera is somewhat knocked from its position. So exciting stuff from the onboard camera. On board with Adrian Campos trying to work his way up the order a little bit, and well, a little bit of contact, but he manages to get past there, going past Carlos Palau and into fifth position. Up front, Luis Villamil still under pressure from Eric van der Poel. Jordi Genet battling with with Giorgio Francia rather. Francia trying to take that to third place. So Villamil still race leader. Just very experienced driver, Villamil, former Spanish touring car champion. Oh, locking up, that was Giorgio Francia. We go back on board with Campos. That's Francia disappearing. And there is Giorgio Francia just locked up, going into the end corner at the end of the start-finish straight and straight off the track. So disappointment for him. Meanwhile, Luis Perez Sala is fighting away past Carlos Palau. Sala there in the Nissan, just getting past Carlos Palau. We're travelling on board with Palau, but back to the leaders. Still Jordi Genet in the white and yellow Opel, trying to put Eric van der Poel under pressure. But van der Poel, the experienced Belgian, looks as though he's going to be able to control this. Well, I say that, he's up on two wheels going through that new chicane. Just watch this again in slow motion. And Eric van der Poel, former Grand Prix driver for the Lamborghini Formula 1 team, the Brabham team, and a bit for Fond Metal as well. Well, they're really making exciting work of it through that chicane, but keeping it all together and coming through to the finish in second place. Louis Villamil taking the win, though. Eric van der Poel taking second, and Jordi Genet in third, with Adrian Campos coming through well as well. So in the championship, it means that Louis Villamil now has a narrow lead with 96 points. Eric van der Poel second on 90, and Jordi Genet third on 76. Let's go touring car racing now. Let's go to Spain, the Albacete circuit. Some sunshine and some spectacular racing from the Spanish touring car contingent.